Where's the video of the Chinese brands exposing the watch industry? Where is that? I've seen movies.
Got you right here. This is a CF Rolex I got from Shenzhen for only 120 USD. And it still ticks, everything is perfect.
Watches come in different sizes. A small dial makes you always slimmer, while a large one makes you a stronger error. First of all, you need to determine your budget range. The Rolex data just is the best choice for cost effective.
Imagine saving up for years, maybe even decades, just to finally strap a Rolex onto your wrist. That first glance at the golden crown logo, that ticking second hand, sweeping around the dial with absolute precision, that heavy, unmistakable feel of something iconic. But now, imagine seeing that same exact watch on a viral Chinese TikTok. Same weight, same look, same movement, for just $120. That's not just embarrassing, that's betrayal. And for Rolex, the fallout from that video is more than just bad PR. It's a full-blown crisis threatening to redefine what luxury even means in 2025.
做成了基本程序。你这是哪个程序？车窗上哪个程序和表的？哦，表壳。直接从你这个成型咯。
The video that sparked the firestorm wasn't produced in a polished studio or by a disgruntled ex-employee. No, it came from inside the belly of the beast, straight from a Chinese factory. A worker casually showing off a Rolex clone, boasts about the flawless design, accurate tick, and dirt-cheap price. He holds it up with pride, laughing off the idea that these luxury watches are special. To him, it's just another product rolling off the line, one of thousands made every week.
打包之后好漂亮哦。半成品的表带。哦，磨了之后它就不会擦手了。
But this wasn't a one-off. That one clip set off a chain reaction. More factory workers came forward, more videos surfaced, some secretly filmed, others boldly public. Soon the internet was flooded with footage from Shenzhen, the heart of Chinese watch manufacturing, showing not just clones, but what appeared to be legitimate Rolex components being assembled in bulk. Rows of dials, piles of bezels, movements being tested by machines. It looked less like a luxury workshop and more like an Amazon warehouse. And just like that, the fairy tale of Swiss perfection began to collapse.
Are Swiss watches really made in China? I went to Shenzhen to find out. It's the epicenter of Chinese watch manufacturing, and according to this one expert,
TISO make about 4 million watches a year, 300 watchmakers in Switzerland. Do the math.
There's compelling evidence that Swiss-made on the dial doesn't mean the watch was made or constructed in Switzerland. When I did find the higher quality knockoffs, they all pointed me in the direction of one particular factory. Unfortunately, they wouldn't let me film inside, but I can tell you the quality was very high. Certainly, lots of micro brands manufacture in Shenzhen, as well as lots of big brands.
For decades, Rolex has sold a lifestyle, not just a watch. Their marketing plays on heritage, craftsmanship, precision, and, most importantly, exclusivity. The Swiss-made label became a badge of pride, a status symbol, a promise of quality. But here's the cold, hard truth. Under Swiss law, a watch only has to have 60% of its production cost occur in Switzerland to qualify as Swiss-made. That includes design, admin, even marketing. The parts themselves, they can, and often do, come straight from factories in China. Let that sink in. A $15,000 Rolex can legally be called Swiss-made, even if 80% of the actual physical watch, the stuff you wear on your wrist, was made thousands of miles away in a factory most buyers would never even dare to step foot in. It's not just misleading, it's smoke and mirrors, a marketing sleight of hand that's now unraveling before millions of eyeballs online.
As soon as you see this video, please don't spend a lot of money on a watch. I am a watch factory from China. Because I can no longer bear that you spend tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy watches, I take the risk of offending all brands to tell you one thing. In fact, watches do not need to be that expensive. I can let you get a big brand watch with 1% of the original price.
And when we say China is making these watches, we're not talking about shady back alley operations. We're talking about massive high-tech facilities in Shenzhen that produce millions of watches every year. Industry insiders estimate that over 90% of the global watch supply, luxury and otherwise, passes through Shenzhen in some form. Micro brands, fast fashion watches, boutique timepieces, and yes, Rolex, Omega, and more. One of the biggest bombshells came from an industry insider known as the watch regulator. A former employee of the Swatch Group, which owns Omega, Tissot, Blancpain, and others, he took to TikTok to tell the truth. And what he revealed was stunning. He was fired for exposing that many parts sold as Swiss-made were actually made in China. Dials, cases, even diamond-studded components came from Asian suppliers. He even described servicing luxury watches and discovering that the only thing not made in China was a cheap $5 quartz movement inside.
I got fired from Swatch Group today for talking about their products on TikTok. Before we get into the reasons why I was fired, just for the people who don't know, Swatch Group is a large Swiss watch group that comprises brands like Omega, Longines, Tissot, Breguet, Blancpain, Rado, Hamilton, and of course Swatch. One of the reasons that I got fired was for this video where I talk about how Swiss watch brands say they service your watch, but actually just swap out the movement for a new one. And that was classified as a breach of company confidentiality. Oh, and also, how could I forget when I talked about how Omega parts for watches weren't made in Switzerland, but were instead made in China. That's probably a big one.
But he didn't stop there. He exposed the truth behind Swiss watch servicing too. How companies tell you they're servicing your timepiece, when in reality, they're just swapping out the movement with a new one. That revelation alone would be enough to shake customer confidence. But combine that with proof that major parts are made in China, and suddenly the Swiss watch world looks more like a clever illusion than a center of artisanal craftsmanship. And this illusion isn't just theoretical anymore. It's being ripped apart by video evidence. Footage shows luxury watch parts being made in batches. Workers openly discuss production quantities, with some factories reportedly shipping out thousands of units per week. Some even say brands fly in Swiss inspectors to sign off on batches before they're shipped to Geneva. That way, the final box still says, made in Switzerland. But the truth, it was born in China. Now here's the part that really messes with your mind. Those same factories, they're making replicas, using the same materials, same tools, and often the same workers. The only thing different is the logo. When a legitimate run of Rolexes ends, a new run begins. Same specs, same quality, but this time it's headed for the black market. One watch gets the Rolex stamp and a $20,000 price tag. The other goes on TikTok for $200. And the scary part? You can't tell the difference. In fact, these clones have gotten so sophisticated that even certified watchmakers are being fooled. One replica passed inspection by 2 separate experts before it was finally caught much later during resale. These aren't sloppy knockoffs anymore. They include NFC chips, engraved serial numbers, branded boxes, warranty cards, microfiber cloths, instruction manuals, everything. It's the full luxury experience, minus the price. And the reason they're so convincing? Because the same people making the real watches are making the clones. The same tooling, same machines, and in some cases, same production lines. Think about that. When the machines stop printing Rolex parts, they don't power down. They just run again for a different market.
Are Rolex watches made in China? So what I know to be true, and having seen with my own beady little eyes while working at Swatch Group, who own, is that they have bracelets, dials, cases, hands, movement components, all made in China. I've seen the packaging for them, I've seen the country of origin stamped on them, I know that to be true. Rolex mass-produced watches are the best mass-produced watches you can get. They make, 1.2 to 1.5 million watches a year. They're not made by hand. They're made on a production line. They do machine pretty much everything. There's no hand finishing. It doesn't take them a year to make a watch. They're the best mass-produced watch. They're the Toyota Corolla of watches.
Now here's the part that really messes with your mind. Those same factories, they're making replicas, using the same materials, same tools, and often the same workers. The only thing different is the logo. When a legitimate run of Rolexes ends, A new run begins. Same specs, same quality, but this time it's headed for the black market. One watch gets the Rolex stamp and a $20,000 price tag. The other goes on TikTok for $200. And the scary part? You can't tell the difference. In fact, these clones have gotten so sophisticated that even certified watchmakers are being fooled. One replica passed inspection by 2 separate experts before it was finally caught much later during resale. These aren't sloppy knockoffs anymore. They include NFC chips, engraved serial numbers, branded boxes, warranty cards, microfiber cloths, instruction manuals, everything. It's the full luxury experience, minus the price. And the reason they're so convincing? Because the same people making the real watches are making the clones. The same tooling, same machines, and in some cases, same production lines. Think about that. When the machines stop printing Rolex parts, they don't power down. They just run again for a different market. Faced with undeniable evidence, Rolex finally cracked. They did something they never do. They permanently slashed prices on some of their most popular models. Not a seasonal promotion, not a temporary markdown. Permanent price cuts. A desperate move to re-anchor value in a market that suddenly doesn't see Rolex the same way. Because now people are asking questions. Big ones. Why spend $20,000 on a watch that might have been assembled right next to a clone? Why trust a Swiss-made label when it really just means someone in Geneva did the final screw-on? Why believe the myth when the truth is now viral?
More quality.
Oh, the quality of the knockoff are becoming crazy. They've been replicating the cards, even the cards, the paperwork for the watches. They've been doing it. It's scary.
Rolex mostly?
Rolex, Richard Mille, like anything, just name it. You'll see it.
Collectors are reacting fast. They're offloading inventory. Resellers are struggling. Gray market prices are falling. Watches that used to flip in hours now sit unsold for weeks. Some dealers are stuck with inventory they bought at peak value, now forced to eat the loss. The resale bubble is deflating fast, and Rolex's pricing correction is a last-ditch effort to slow the bleeding. But this isn't just about Rolex. The entire luxury watch industry is now under scrutiny. The same factories that supply Rolex also serve Richard Mille, Audemars Piguet, Tag Heuer, and others. Brands once known for exclusivity are being tied to the same anonymous supply chains as bargain watches. And their response? Total silence. No statements. No transparency. Just waiting for the storm to pass. But in the age of TikTok and receipts, silence doesn't save you, it buries you. For years, the luxury watch world relied on mystique. Glossy ads, dim lighting, Swiss mountains in the background, words like heritage, tradition, and mastery sprinkled across websites. But now, consumers don't need marketing. They have cameras, they have social media, they have access. And when that access shows the same hands assembling both a $15,000 Rolex and a $200 clone, well, the illusion shatters. And when the illusion is gone, so is the prestige. A luxury product only holds value as long as people believe it's rare, special, and crafted with unmatched skill. But now? Now it's just mass production wrapped in a Swiss flag. The luxury watch market isn't collapsing, it's transforming, and only the brands that embrace transparency will survive what comes next. If you own a Rolex today, it still carries status. The name still sparks recognition. But for how long? This might be the last generation where the Rolex myth still works. Because once people know a brand is mass-produced, the meaning behind that brand doesn't fade, it vanishes. It disappears into thin air, leaving only a logo and a memory. So let's have a real conversation. Would you still buy a Rolex today? Does the brand name still justify the price if the product is made in the same facility as the clone? Or is the entire luxury watch game just another hustle in high-end packaging? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from both collectors and first-time buyers. And if this video opened your eyes, hit that like button. Subscribe for more content that cuts through the spin and gets to the truth. Because in 2025, transparency isn't optional, it's survival. Thanks for watching. Stay sharp, stay informed, and remember, what you see behind the scenes might just change how you wear what's on your wrist.